Hey, we're back with the Lone Ranger. Okay, we did the first one a minute ago. Now we're going to do he helps the colonel's son. What colonel? I hope this isn't that colonel that wanted to kill Gunpowder the Mule from the original one I did. Better not be. That colonel. Colonel Wade. And again with this song. I can't cut it out. If there's a way, I don't know how to do it.
Horse with the speed of light, a
speed of light,
and a hearty hi-yo silver. The Lone Ranger
strikes again. And yes, this is that classical music score. Whatever it is.
This is the legend of the Lone Ranger and the Colonel's son.
Oh. Why don't they give Tonto some, you know, a little billing?
When the Lone Ranger and Tonto heard Indian war drums, they followed the sound until they reached the top of a hill. In the valley below, they could see a renegade Indian named Crazy Wolf.
Crazy.
200 painted savages.
Crazy cat.
Bushes concealed the masked man and Tonto from the Indians.
Drums say Indians attack at dawn.
The people in Osage must be warned. At the same time, we must get word to Colonel Ames at the fort.
Now.
We'll split up, Tonto. Take this silver bullet to the fort. Colonel Ames will recognize it and know that I sent you. Tell him this is his chance to capture Crazy Wolf.
Crazy
I'll ride through Eagle Pass and warn the people.
Wild Eagle.
Be ready for an attack.
Crazy cat. You know.
Come on, Silver.
The cowies.
Night had gathered and the full moon was rising when the Lone Ranger reached the entrance to Eagle Pass. Between the towering rocky walls, a soldier stood and signaled a halt.
Oh, Silver, oh boy, steady, easy now.
Easy now, big fella.
Advanced, holding his rifle, ready to fire.
Don't do it.
Trouble, soldier. Steady, big fella. You're a long way from the fort.
I've been scouting. My horse went lame. That's why I must take yours. Masked.
Yes, but I'm no outlaw, and I'm not a horse thief.
No matter who you are, mister, I'm borrowing your horse.
No, you
for
ain't.
emergency. I must locate those Indian war drums.
They're in Crazy Wolf's encampment.
What? Crazy Wolf?
He and his men are in a valley.
That's right.
Below Twin Peaks. They plan to attack.
Didn't you hear me the
daybreak.
first time?
I'm on my way through the pass to warn the town. So, what's your name, soldier?
Sergeant Ames.
None of your beeswax.
Your father's the colonel at the
Masked
fort.
man.
That's why you look familiar to me.
You know my father?
Yes.
You know he's one of the toughest officers in the army.
Mm-hmm.
As his son, I'd have to be a hero before he'd recommend me for a commission as a second lieutenant.
You sound bitter.
I'm sorry, but I must take your horse to get back to the fort with the news of Crazy Wolf.
My Indian friend Tonto is on his way to the fort now with the information.
Tonto, and you called your horse Silver. Well, you must be the Lone Ranger.
That's
Yes.
me.
My father is often.
Why, yes.
Tell me, won't the Indians reach Osage ahead of the troopers?
Probably.
Probably.
That's why I must warn the people. They must be ready to make a stand.
Maybe I can delay the Indians.
Single-handed.
I've plenty of ammunition, and there's a natural fortification on the ledge overlooking this gap. I'll open
I can
fire
do
before
it.
the Redskins
And
reach
this
the
way
place.
my father
I'll
won't
get some of them.
think I'm worth the
You're very
damn.
fortunate. It will mean your life. But you may save many others. Good luck. Easy, steady, big fella, easy. Come on, Silver!
After the Lone Ranger had gone, Sergeant
father-son
Ames climbed
relationship.
to the top of the cliff at the entrance to Eagle Pass and waited until 3 o'clock in the morning. Then the savages appeared. They came out of the hills riding
The
hard toward
savages.
the
I
canyon that
love the
would
way they
lead
keep calling them the
straight to Osage.
savages.
They'll kill the Lone Ranger and everyone in Osage. They'll kill the Lone Ranger.
Oh, this guy's gonna,
I must slow them down.
he's gonna die.
One man against
He's gonna
200
die.
Indians. The soldier knew he could not last long against such odds, even though he was in a well-fortified place. He leveled his rifle, aimed at Crazy Wolf, and fired.
I dropped him.
My father's gonna love me now. And you know, when they drop the chief, the rest of the Indians take off. That's the theory, or that's the story. What's going on here?
After shooting Crazy Wolf, the Indian leader, Lance Ames kept firing from the ledge as fast as he could load and pull the trigger. Several Indians fell. The others didn't know that just one man guarded the narrow
What the hell
entrance
is
to Eagle
that?
Pass. Instead of entering the pass, they turned their horses aside, leaped to the ground, and took shelter behind rocks. Ames knew that every moment he could delay the Indians added to the hope that his father, the colonel, would
love him more.
in time to save the town of
Bug.
Osage and the Lone Ranger.
It's like we're outside with the Lone Ranger.
The Lone Ranger had warned the people in Osage and was on his way back through Eagle Pass when he heard the gunfire. He urged Silver to top speed.
Come on, Silver!
Top speed.
Faster!
When he rounded a turn in the canyon, he could see the opening ahead. He drew rein.
Warp drive, Silver.
Saw Sergeant Ames making his brave fight against the heavy odds. Leaving Silver, the Lone Ranger climbed the rocky wall to the canyon's rim. As he ran, crouching low towards Sergeant Ames, he saw the soldier drop his gun and slump to the ground. He drew his guns and opened fire at the Indians.
Couldn't have got there a little sooner.
Then he picked up the army rifle, loaded it, and fired some more. The Lone Ranger was able, between shots, to learn that Sergeant Ames was still alive.
Hey.
When the supply of ammunition ran low, the masked man fired more cautiously.
The masked man.
After what seemed an eternity, a bugle sounded in the background of the gunfire.
Uh-oh.
The Lone
Reinforcements.
Ranger looked across the plain.
Thank you, Tonto, for going to the fort.
He saw in the bright moonlight. The soldiers were coming out of the hills from behind the Indians in a column of twos, with Tonto riding beside the colonel in the lead.
There you
While
go,
the masked man
Tonto.
watched, the troopers change formation. Some turned to the right, others to the left. They fanned out to a wide front as the
Your other
troops
left.
sounded charge. Many of the renegades were cut down by withering gunfire. The others, realizing that it was a hopeless fight, surrendered. While the soldiers were making prisoners of the Indians, the Lone Ranger quickly examined the sergeant's wound, then quietly hurried along the canyon rim and down the wall to the place where Silver waited. He mounted and rode to the mouth of the canyon, where Tonto stood with Colonel Ames.
Oh, easy, steady, big fella.
The colonel shook hands with the masked man and said,
Thanks to the timely information you sent by Tonto, we have rounded...
It is the same colonel. Is this Colonel Wade?
Hear it, Colonel. Oh, what about Crazy Wolf?
He's dead. Apparently he was shot by someone stationed on that ledge above.
Him save people of Osage.
Him your son, you
Indeed,
big
He
dummy.
made a glorious stand. He held these Indians out of Eagle Pass till we got here.
But I'm...
It man on ledge.
Then I sent to see who fought these Indians. Yes, see someone there?
It's your own son, Colonel.
Oh, crap. Now I gotta give him credit for something?
Wounded, but it's not serious.
His heroic stand should win him a commission and a
That's
medal for
all.
bravery.
Yes, I think you're right.
Tonto, we better...
This
ride
is the
to
same
pass
colonel.
and tell the people in Osage that Crazy Wolf will not attack.
That's good news.
Many thanks to both of you.
We'll meet again, Colonel. Easy, steady, big fella.
Fella.
Come on, Silver!
The colonel
Well, Colonel Ames,
approached his
looks
son.
like your son is a man of the hour.
He was called a hero, Captain. Called a hero by the Lone Ranger.
And when the Lone Ranger says it, you know it's the truth. But where's that mule I gotta shoot? I never did kill that thing, that gunpowder, whatever that mule's name was. It sounds like the same colonel from the that one when he was trying to kill a mule. That guy wants to kill a mule. Won't give his son any credit for nothing except now because the Lone Ranger says so. Poof on that. Yeah, the Lone Ranger says so. It must be true. What about Tonto? All I'd ever do is tie up horses and go scout stuff. I ain't good for much of nothing. So there's the second one, folks. He saved, what was the name of this one? Helps the Colonel's son. He helps the Colonel's son. Yes, indeed, the Colonel's son. The Colonel's son doesn't even have a name. Oh, I think he did, but I don't remember it now. The ungrateful Colonel. Colonel Wade. Even the birds think he's... All right, later, folks.